Hello, hello, hello. This is Tamika Peters, President and CEO of Grow Your Nonprofit, where we help startup small and stagnant nonprofits grow through fundraising strategies, strategic planning, and so much more. Guys, today you're in for a treat. I have my friend and special guest here, Tracy. She's a business consultant. We're going to talk about strategic planning, leadership, and so much more to run your nonprofit like a business. And for those who's listening who have a for-profit business, you can benefit too. Before we get started, I'd like to thank the sponsors of my podcast. Trinity Life Foundation Naples, helping at-risk youth through their enrichment programs. AVID, that stands for the Associations of Haitians Living Abroad. They just opened an amazing support center right here in the beautiful Fort Myers, where they will help you with immigration support, utility billing, and English as a second language. Last but not least, Vax Juice. They received a grant from the CDC to raise awareness of COVID-19 and vaccine resources in the Black and Brown communities. So, guys, like I said, my special guest here, Tracy. How are you doing, Tracy?
I'm so good. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for driving all the way from Naples to join us here.
It was my pleasure because I'm driving against the traffic. So
I know on your way back, so that's very cool. So before we get started, please tell our audience a little bit about yourself and your business.
Absolutely. So I am the owner of the Amboseli Group, and we are a boutique consulting firm, and we focus on strategic planning, leadership development, and organizational culture within different medium-sized businesses. I work as a consultant and a facilitator as well for different trainings within organizations at various levels. I'm based in Southwest Florida, but I also have clients up to North Carolina, and I love just helping other people achieve more. That is my entire life's mission.
It's absolutely correct, because I met Tracy, probably about 5-6 years ago.
It's been longer than that.
Longer than that?
I know. COVID was 3 years, so
oh, wow.
Take that out.
Wow. And what I like best about her is that she's genuine. She always tries to help.
Thank you.
And if you hire her to help you with your business, I guarantee you will see results, and you will see someone who does what they say they're going to do, and they're going to be dedicated to you. And I'm sure she'll treat it just like it's your business,
yes,
right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I will treat it like it's my business. And I love that you said that, because that's one of the biggest things is accountability. Mm-hmm. And there's so much struggle right now with getting people to show up for work, but also getting vendors to show up. So when someone is accountable, we are automatically impressed. And above that, I will treat your business like my own. And that's one of the things that I love. I'm your advocate, your business advocate. And I ask the right questions so that we can discover what the right path forward is for you and your business.
Mm-hmm. So with that said, let's segue into strategic planning. What is strategic planning, and why is it so important for your nonprofit business and for-profit business?
Well, as the adage goes, you don't know where you're going if you don't know where you're starting from, mm-hmm. right? And you can't go aimlessly, because you'll never know if you've actually achieved what your goals are.
Exactly.
Right? And with that, it's important to know what your overall goals are. Mm-hmm. And I like to ask, why do you want those goals? Because sometimes we just create these goals out of the thought process or mm-hmm. perspective that it's expected of me, or this is where I should be at this stage in my life. This is where my business should go. And that keyword should is very interesting mm-hmm. to me, because who said it should?
Right.
And the question comes back to, why do you want the goals that you've set forth? And once we've uncovered why, then we go into, okay, how do we accomplish them? And strategic planning is a little bit more than what some people think it is. I think mm-hmm. it's just, you have a plan, a 3 to 5 year plan. Yeah. You're going to start checking things off, saying, I've done it. Yes, it's true. You're going to have a roadmap that guides you, mm-hmm. but it really does help you identify why you want to go the direction you want.
Yeah.
You know, if you say, I want to grow my business and I want to franchise, why do you want to franchise?
Right.
Like, is it because you think you should? Franchising is so much more than people actually understand. Let's uncover what that means. Let's talk through that. And then as we're growing through with this strategic plan, we'll have our steps in place so that you as the owner, the leadership team, the board, etc., you know how to get there, right? Like, that's part of what we always talk mm-hmm. about, where we say, I don't know how to do something. Well, let's help you with that. Let's give you the tools to do that so that you and your organization can move forward.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned the why. Mm-hmm. Why do you want to grow? And in my opinion, the last thing you should want to grow is because of money. Mm-hmm. So if you're in the business to make money, clients will see that you're not authentic, and it's all about the money, and it's not about them. So You want to build a business where you don't have all of these transactional clients or donors. You want relationships, and you want a client base. You want people to be with you for a long time, because it's actually more expensive to acquire a new donor and or customer versus having a customer, donor, or client stay with you for many years.
Yes.
So it should never be about the money. It should be about genuinely helping people to succeed, and guess what? The money will come.
Yes, 100%. It's as long as you look at what value am I bringing to somebody else, whether it be through a product or a service, as long as I'm bringing a value, the money will come. The referrals will come. People will start singing your praises. The transactions will come through. You shouldn't focus on money, which is hard for us to say in this climate.
I know, right?
You know, with cost of living now, but it's hard not to focus on the money. But you're right. If you focus on the money, then it becomes a transactional relationship, which, yes, it exists, but it needs to be more of a relationship building transaction. The flip side to that, because at the end of the day, it gives more grace as part of that. You are building you're building value within your clientele, whether you're a for-profit or nonprofit. And it's more than just the social impact of what your nonprofit brings to the community. It is overall, it is how you're helping your employees, helping your board, helping your beneficiaries. It's so many different levels involved.
So you know that the saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. And I like to talk when I work with my clients, tell them when I work with them, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So don't expect results overnight. It takes time to build a Walmart. It takes time to build a Starbucks. We know how all of these organizations started. Amazon started in a garage with just books.
Yes.
So, and sometimes it takes 10 plus years before you get that go. So going back to your why. So building upon that strategic plan in your roadmap. So we have that in place, but it's no good if we don't have the implementation, right?
Right.
And then we talked earlier about building your team and having your team have buy-in, and they have a voice. Their voice is being heard.
Yes.
So let's talk about your team's voice being heard to help you move forward, because as we know, we can move slow by ourselves, or we can move mountains together.
Right. What's interesting with what you just said is, yes, it's a marathon, but I look at it that it's a triathlon, because you have that marathon piece in there, but you also have different parts to it that collectively go towards the goal. And that's how I look at it. So when you have the team aspect of having them have a voice, right? One of the biggest struggles is you have a dictator who says, we're going to do this. This is the direction we're going to go. And you must follow. You're not going to have any movement at that point. You're going to have pushback. You're going to have resistance. You're going to have quiet quitting, loud quitting, etc. You're going to have a whole bunch of things, right? So it comes back to that culture within your organization or association. And what does that look like in terms of the vision that you're working towards, the mission and the vision, right? We understand where things are today, but how do we collectively talk about where we're going to be tomorrow? What is the XYZ business of tomorrow? And that should really include the input of all employees to a certain degree, right? We're not saying that the employees are going to build that, but we're saying we need their input. They see more than we see from a leadership level. They know more than we know from a leadership level. They're the ones on the front line. They're the ones facing the clients. They're the ones hearing the clients struggle. We need to listen to them to know, okay, what should we consider? If we've considered it, what's working, what's not working? Because that's the problem. There tends to be a disconnect between the leadership and the employee. And then we wonder why we're not having a cohesive culture, or why we're not working together, right? And that's part of the biggest struggle that I think a lot of leaders are having to unlearn, because it has been ingrained through generations, right? Of, we're the leader, this is what you should do. But no, we're the leader. Our job is to listen. Our job is to make our employees' jobs easier. Our job is here to say, what can I do for you? Because you're the one doing the bulk of it. How can I help you? And I think a big part of that comes back to understanding your leadership style. And for example, I'm a servant leader. That's what I believe in. My goal is to help you. I would work well in different leadership styles. And as leaders, we need to understand what that looks like if we're really going to be there to help grow in however we're choosing to grow, but help grow from within and externally.
That's very important. You touched on a few points. Culture. So as we know, the definition of culture is a way of life. So whether we are intentional about creating a culture within our business, our nonprofit, or it's naturally created. You're going to have a culture whether you're intentional about it. But let's talk about the importance of creating and being intentional with your culture, because it starts from the top and it comes down. So that's a matter of whether you have environment where there's teamwork or environment where there's competition or it's toxic. So how does one start to even shape their culture intentionally?
So I would say the first part is, again, listening to the employees. Where are we today?
Yeah.
Because if you are seated on the White Castle or the White Tower, right? You're at the top and you think the culture is great. I would start with an organizational culture audit.
Yeah.
What does that look like from the employee's perspective, right? What are they feeling? Because it's not just what we say in words, like when we have on the employee break room, our values and our key words that are listed, but are we actually living it? Are they feeling it? So starting there, seeing what the employees have to say, then doing an analysis of that. And that's where, that's a perfect place for an organizational culture consultant come in and say, okay, from an unbiased perspective, let's look at what the data shows, because data is gold.
Yes.
It is not subjective. It is actual fact. Right. Let's look at what the data shows and let's analyze this. And then let's compare this against where we need to be in order for us to thrive as an organization. So if you're going to be intentional with your culture and understanding what your culture is, that's where I would start, is starting with the employee. And then taking it from there as to how do we fix the problems, because there's no secret. There are problems everywhere.
There are problems everywhere.
You know, and like you said, there is a culture.
Yeah.
It just may be a toxic culture, but there are problems everywhere. So what do we do now that we've identified what those are?
So we're putting a lot of different pieces of the puzzle together as we talk. We talked about leadership. We talked about culture, strategic planning. But if the leadership team doesn't have big picture thinking, it's really hard for the organization to grow. And I see that a lot with nonprofits. In our previous conversation, we talked about how if like this one particular person wanted to do everything because they thought they were saving money, the importance of seeing what's important to outsource and what's important for me to focus on. And I always push big picture thinking. With that said, how does one get out of their own way and become a great leader and think about big picture thinking to move the organization forward? Because as we know, the world as it is today, tomorrow, everything is changing so fast. And we have artificial intelligence, we have robots starting to make a lot of things, and a lot of human jobs are going away. So how do we get out of our own way, become a great leader, and think about the big picture for the business?
That's a threefold question.
I know.
What's interesting with that is you said that you have some organizations that have big picture thinking, but then you have those that have too big of a picture thinking.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
They're all over the place. We want to grab at everything. Everything's an opportunity. Fair.
Right.
But that's why you need to understand, okay, what is our goal? What is our purpose? Right? Why are we doing this? Because all these opportunities will continuously come our way, and if we're continuously giving 5% each place, we're never going to give 100% to one place. So that's the first thing. As a leadership team, understanding you can have big and little thinking at the same time, as long as they align, because you have to have those steps in place, right, to move forward. Now, as it relates to the tomorrow's development, right? It's that fine line where you can't always worry about tomorrow and you have to be present today. But recognizing that with the development of different tools, such as artificial intelligence, we need to embrace them for what they are. My thing is, I love using artificial intelligence. I use it because it makes my job easier. However, I'm cautious at the same time, because I recognize if a lot of human jobs go away, well, who are we selling to? We're selling to humans. So if humans don't have jobs to earn money, humans can't buy the products that the AI made, right? So it's one of those delicate conversations that you have to embrace, but you still recognize that these are tools.
Yeah.
And one of my also favorite examples is, how long has it been that we've had the artificial voice when you call into customer service?
Yeah, a long time.
A long time. You don't recognize that's
it
not
became
a
the norm.
person.
It became the norm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How frustrated do we get when we're like,
Very
operator?
Very frustrating.
So you can have. So it did. It did reduce a lot of the jobs, the customer service jobs. It did assist the businesses with what they wanted to automate, but still, we rely on human-to-human interaction and connection.
Yeah.
So I don't worry about that too much, even though it's easy for me to say because I'm not one directly impacted today, so I recognize that. But let's not lose sight that we need human-to-human interaction, and humans are the ones buying things.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to be careful at that. And the last part to that, overall, as you're looking at whether it be culture, because you should have a strategic plan for culture, you should have a strategic plan for the overall business, but you should also have it for labor, you should have it for your marketing, you should have a strategic plan in every department, and they all align to the overall goal. And I think that's where things get missed. We have this big picture of what we're going to accomplish, but part of the steps to get there include the different departments, the different outsourced vendors.
Yes.
It involves, in nonprofit's case, what's the board's strategic plan? Because sometimes that's different from what the organization's or association's strategic plan is, because the board also has succession planning. Right?
Yeah.
The board also has its own leadership development. The board also has to be advisory as well as have that focus as to what are we doing from a fiduciary perspective? So there are different parts to having this strategic plan, but I think people hear strategic plan and it scares them. It's not a 30 to 50 page document.
No, it can be very simple.
It can be very simple, and it expands each part and it makes it doable.
Yes.
That's where I think you and I come in, because we've understood the foundation of what a strategic plan is, but we're modernizing it.
Exactly. So before we wrap up, we talked about the importance of figuring out what tasks or positions to outsource. Let's shift gears a little bit about the importance of having a consultant, because you could figure it out with a consultant with our expertise, because we've had an amazing career, ran businesses, and that's why we're consulting, right? Versus someone who just started something and they're trying to figure it out on their own. Guys, you're not really saving money. You're actually costing yourself more money and more time, where you could be actually growing your business, growing your nonprofit if you had expertise come in. So with that said, what are the advantages of hiring a consultant to help you navigate the things that they don't understand about running the business?
I will challenge that a little bit, that it's not about running the business. A consultant brings diverse thought. And that should just be the statement, because you have leaders in today's world that either have been doing this for 2+ decades. They're taking antiquated thought processes and trying to bring it into modern day execution. And then you also have the perspective of those that may not have done what they're looking to do before, but also don't have someone to bounce the idea off of, don't have a different perspective there, and it's a safe place. Like a consultant is your advocate. Right? A consultant comes in, they treat your business like their own. And they're bringing not just that diverse thought, but the perspective, but then also that conversation. Let them also be the one to do the research. Let them be the one to strategize and bring the options to you, so that while you're working in your business, you can also work on your business, because that's what happens, right?
Working on your business. That's a whole nother conversation.
Exactly, because we get focused in the business so much. And then we think it has to be in or on. Well, a consultant can help you work on both.
Right.
Because they're your secondhand person saying, all right, this is our goals. We've agreed upon it. Let's go together. Right?
Exactly.
So that's where my biggest thing comes from, hiring a consultant. It is an investment in you and your business.
Yes, it's an investment in you and yourself, because you invest in those are out there who like Louis bags. I love Louis bags, but I look for a discount. Those are you out there who buy designer things, designer cars, a house. We put an investment in that. We couldn't, quote unquote, afford it, so we had it financed. So that's the same mindset you should have when it comes to hiring a consultant. If you can't afford to hire a consultant, I know I accept credit cards. Do you accept credit cards?
I do.
So we accept credit cards. Perhaps you can get a grant. Perhaps you can get a loan because it is an investment in your business and yourself to help you grow and fulfill your mission.
And like you said, the things that we're choosing to spend money on today, there's very little to no return.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
And it's interesting because we find money
right.
for things we want to find money for.
That's right. We find money.
And a lot of the times too, a consultant comes in and it's part of that scrutiny of your books, not from an audit perspective, because I'm not a financial auditor, but it's what are you spending money on? Is it needed today?
Yeah.
That's part of the strategic plan. What are we investing in? And there's a time and place for everything, you know, and we find money for other things, and it goes back to, well, what is the ROI on a consultant?
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you, if you invest in a consultant and you are also dedicated to the plan and you're working on it as well, you will find that return so much quicker than a lot of other things that you're investing in. And it's like a piece of machinery. You know, you need the equipment to produce the product, so you invest in it, you see the return. And a consultant is that intangible investment where you say, all right, I'm going to have a return. It's a dual investment in myself as well as the business.
So it sounds like it's a mindset shift that needs to help, and a lot of education that needs to go on. So Tracy, if someone wanted to reach out to you, how would they contact you?
So my company is the Amboseli Group, www.theamboseligroup.com. My email is Tracy, Tracy, at the Amboseli Group. So that's TheAmboseli group.com. And the phone number is 239-682-1282.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Tracy.
Thank you.
For coming on the Grow Your Nonprofit podcast to share your knowledge as to how people can start growing their nonprofit as well as their business. Because guys, you know what? Nonprofit is a business. And big picture thinking, leadership, culture, we touched on a lot of different things.
But not even an inch of everything.
I know, right?
There's so much.
All right. So we definitely will have Tracy back. I love bringing other consultants on. Yesterday, I actually had a consultant on who fundraises for churches and capital campaigns. So getting different perspectives from different cultures, and at times we will partner and collaborate. And guess what? You as a business owner, you can find another business that complements your business and collaborate and partner, because it only makes you better. It only makes you grow, because at the end of the day, customers are going to do business with people they like and they trust.
Yes.
So there's no competition. You could only benefit by working together. So I hope that you got something out of this to grow your nonprofit, to grow your business, and to shift your mindset that this is an investment in yourself, and your business is only going to make things better. So please don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. This is Tamika Peters. I'm signing off, and stay tuned for more Grow Your Nonprofit podcast episodes.